that.
Ding! All right, we're back. Another episode of Bikes and Brews, and we're starting fresh. We got a new crew here. I'm Carl Hyman, one of your hosts, and right here we have, introduce yourself.
My name's RJ, also known as Raging Jackhammer.
That's right.
And I am Ryan Beechner.
Spelled wrong.
Incorrectly. R-Y-O-N.
Awesome. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like it, and we'll get going with things.
Even if you don't like it, start a fight in the comments. I appreciate that more than anything.
I like that. I like that. All right. Okay, so what do we have here today? This is an India Pale Ale. Whale. Sorry. W thrown in there.
Whale of a time.
Okay.
Whale?
Harland Brewing India Pale Whale. I'll let you read that while RJ and I take a look at this one. Down there.
Cryo hop.
Cryo hopped India Pale Ale.
Very cold.
Okay. This one's not as cold as that one. You notice that?
Yeah, it's pretty warm.
It's going to need all the help.
Well, it's cold, but it's not like cold. Okay, what's this? 6.5%. Okay, it's pretty standard. Embodying the spirit of rolling up your sleeves to get the job done.
Blue collar beer.
Awesome. Ooh,
Yeah.
RJ, easy there, Tiger. Okay.
Ready.
Keep cold and enjoy fresh. All right, let's go for it. I'll be chivalrous and pour yours there, Jackhammer.
Who said chivalry's dead?
Totally. Ooh. Ooh. Start with that. The glasses aren't as dirty this time.
Always a plus.
I still don't understand this. Hops, Mosaic Cryo, Chinook, Simcoe.
Probably something to do with where they came from.
And it is from San Diego. At least the brewing company is. Okay, all right. Not much of a head.
You poured it properly.
I did, but it's kind of going quick.
Oh, well.
It's kind of cloudy, too. You already tasted it. You didn't give a...
It's a beer.
It's kind of malty smelling.
It gets worse.
It's a little bitter. It's an India Pale IPA, for sure.
What's wrong with the Indians?
Ooh, I'm gonna start something there.
They like their pale ales.
They do like their pale ales,
Ugh.
and we're not talking about indigenous North American Indians.
Ugh.
You love bitter beers.
I fucking hate that.
Those are strong words, there, Tiger.
That is,
It's bitter.
yeah.
You like bitter beers?
I do.
Why would anyone subject themselves to that?
Well, coffee's bitter. Other things are
He's
bitter.
like, he doesn't drink coffee.
So don't drink coffee.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I like
Alright.
coffee ice cream. You know, after you put a bunch of shit in it to make it not coffee anymore.
Okay, that's a good point. A little citrusy. You're not going for Ontario. You don't even. You already made up your mind.
No,
It's a little citrusy. It's definitely strong hoppy wise. It's a West Coast IPA. I call it. Do you know what a West Coast IPA is?
not a fucking clue.
It's going to be a little hoppier than an East Coast IPA.
So does
Style-wise.
it jump around on the table or?
Should. It should.
That's good.
All right. Anything of note for you?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Well, we already know how you feel about it.
Nah.
The first sip was a little bit eye-awakening, but once it kind of got into it, it wasn't.
The first sip was actually okay.
Oh, really? Reverse?
Yeah, and it just got worse.
Oh.
The second sip was just all bitter
Oh.
and was just not.
Okay. Okay.
That's why I'm not going back for another one because it is not going to get better.
Really?
No.
Go for it. Please,
No.
please. All the cool kids are doing it.
Oh, good. All
You know
peer
you
pressure.
wanted it. Totally.
Ugh. The hard part is, it's as soon as it's on its way down is when it's just.
On its way down.
It's, yeah. That is brutal.
I like that it's a little unfiltered. It gives it a little bit.
I wish they'd filter it. Jesus.
Okay. I guess we'll go right into the review. All right, give me your 1 to 10 review. What are you thinking?
Give it a 6.5
In terms of IPAs or in general?
in general.
Okay.
IPAs.
I'm not a big IPA fan, so that doesn't help. I'm not. I tend to like the sweeter, maltier beers in general. And this one for me, as far as IPAs go, I like it a little bit more than regular IPAs. I think because it's unfiltered, it takes a little bit of that edge off. The head's kind of flat. You know, it does have a little bit of a citrusy note. Other than that, I don't know. I'm okay with it. I give it a 7.
That's
A
a
C.
fine for you.
No.
For IPA.
For an IPA, yeah. It's a little bit higher for an IPA than for me. So, yeah. How about you? You're way down there.
That is probably one of the worst beers I've had.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where's this rating going?
The monk screwed this one up.
Somebody peed in it or something. That's
Wow. That's what happens when when you're celibate and you pee.
all you've been drinking is experimental beer.
This is a labor of beer.
Ugh.
It actually tastes a little bit higher in alcohol than 6.5 to me. Maybe it's that edginess, the bitterness.
I don't get a lot of alcohol. I just get a lot of whatever that bitterness is.
A lot of hops. Yeah, a little raw hops. Can's nice.
If this was coffee, I would drown it in some sort of shitty creamer.
Like you would put condensed milk or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would. It would become a parts per million equation.
You know what? I was surprised. I thought with being unfiltered, it would take a little bit more of the edge off. And if you blindfolded me, I would not know that that was unfiltered. Yeah. Okay.
Anybody know the history behind hard ones?
I don't know anything about this other than it's from San Diego because I read it on the can.
Oh, well.
There are some monks that run this brewery, from what I understand, and from what you told me.
Monks are very common in the brewing business.
Totally. Totally.
There's actually a bit of drama behind the scenes in the beer industry, where people just keep bidding higher and higher to go ahead and get these brew monks to go from one beer to from one brewery to the other. It's been a bit of an arms race in terms of Franciscan monks to go around.
Well, there's a sperm whale on here.
Yeah,
and I think
maybe they got them from the Alaskans or something.
Oh,
some Alaskan monks.
You know what I think the monks are? There's a sperm whale and there's pee. Where do you think where I'm going with this?
Nope. I will be drinking none of that. Not even a little bit.
Oh man. Okay, so that's a wrap for that one.
Great.
Okay. So the topic for today's discussion, we're going to talk about what's
Chinese group sets.
Chinese group sets, because they're kind of been a little bit more hot topic lately. Not that they've never been a hot topic, but like lately there's been a lot more offerings.
I didn't know Hot Topic sold bike stuff.
They're trying to break. Do you think they're breaking that trend? Do you think they're? Yeah.
Now it's Chinese group sets.
Are they still around?
They are.
What?
I got an ad for them the other day. I don't know if that's something I should admit.
How'd you get on that mailing list?
No, I said an ad, not
Okay.
an email. Thank God they don't have my information yet.
I mean, for years it's been, Shimano. Shimano took over where Campy kind of left off. I hate to say it, but Campy's about done.
Oh, they released Super Record S now.
Yeah, released a new super record.
Yeah, which is just
It's not helping.
which makes no sense.
It makes no. I was a huge Campy fan all the way up to just about the newest iteration. Right when they went from the thumb shifters to the double shifting tap on the levers, and then the.
So as soon as they went to WRL, their wireless one, because they got rid of the thumb shifter on the latest iteration, I believe. Now it's just a paddle on the bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even then, I wasn't big fan when they went to their hydraulic system, and then the hoods they weren't
I've heard great stuff about the brakes, but my problem with Campy is I don't understand. There's nothing wrong with it,
Right.
but if something breaks, you go to a bike shop.
Nobody can work on it.
Who has Campy stuff?
Yeah.
Even if you have somebody who knows what they're doing, they're not going to have a bunch of brake pads and whatever parts you're going to need.
Right.
Now that said, Shimano, say you've got Dura-Ace, you screw something up, you can always plug a an Ultegra derailleur into it, and it's going to work just fine.
I think that's the nature of where the industry is going, because it has a snowball effect. If they don't have enough market share, the shops aren't going to support it, and it has this cycle of getting worse and worse and worse. Because before you go to any bike shop, they had the special campy tools, the whole bit.
Well, and I think Campy occupied the space that SRAM's now taken.
Sure.
And SRAM's obviously encroached a little bit into Shimano territory in terms of market share, because it seems like it's a coin toss now. You see a new bike out on the road, it's either Shimano or SRAM. I have not seen a new Campy group set in the wild in years.
It's rare.
Yeah.
But before it was very dominant. And before there was a justification for it, the polish and the look and the ergonomics and the performance and everything was justified. Now the extra price tag is not justified. And it's almost like they're charging for no real good reason other than...
Well, you get into that part where, the legacy heritage Italian brands, where it's like, okay, are they bringing innovation to match the price tag that they have?
Right.
And a lot of people don't see that, and they end up going elsewhere.
Right. Because now the major group sets are so good, they shift so nice. Before it was like Ferrari versus Chevy. There was a jump, and then like you're paying a lot more to get the difference in it. And now there's no. I mean, Shimano works so good.
Yeah.
It works really good. It's reliable. It's easy to work on. Now it's like 50% jump up in price, and you get this other brand.
And it might be as good.
Right. It's hard to justify it's better. I can't even say that anymore.
No.
Performance-wise.
It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just there's nothing that is so right about it that justifies going out of your way and potentially inconveniencing yourself down the road to get what?
And I think it started when Shimano really started to come in. Well, even the rim brake stuff, when their brakes were so good, and Campy was like, it had a little bit more modulation as the argument, but that's like not really true.
I'm happy I got into cycling like right as rim brakes were dying, or like starting to, or when disc brakes were starting to get into the equation.
That's so scary.
Because I mean, all of my first bikes were all rim brake bikes. So
But you just got in when it's switching over to disc. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And my background in motorsports, everything is disc brakes. So I'm watching a bunch of people sit there and shout about how horrible disc brakes are, and they're terrible, and they're heavy, and they make horrible noises, and they stop too fast. They're unsafe in a group.
Right.
You're gonna kill everybody. And it's like, it's now everything is disc.
It is. I mean, there's still an argument for rim brakes. I mean, basically your wheel's a big disc, but the problem is when it went to carbon.
It's also really expensive, and when you wear it out, you've worn out one of the most expensive pieces on the bike.
Right, true. But we also live in California, so it's like, we're spoiled. We don't really ride in weather and things like that.
No, for sure.
So I mean, to me, I still ride a rim brake bike.
And carbon clinchers, descending on carbon clinchers in the wet.
In the wet but we don't ride in the wet. I mean, we live in California. We're like,
I made that mistake.
We'll wait a half a day and then we're done with weather. You know what I mean?
Coming down Las Flores up in Malibu in the wet on carbon clincher brakes.
Oh yeah, that's a
No,
nightmare.
you hit the brakes and it's just a susuggestion.
Right.
You actually speed up.
You look at your bike computer, you feel like you've accelerated, and it's just like, fuck.
Dear God Almighty.
Put a foot down.
Thank God I have good insurance.
Yeah. So nowadays, what is kind of shaking that up more, because now there was the shift from the top tier, and now it seems like sort of changes the subject, but not really.
No, I mean it's all like cyclical in a way, because we've got to the point now where Shimano and SRAM are pretty close. I would argue Shimano has a little bit more refinement than SRAM does.
I'll agree with you there.
But I feel like the Chinese group sets, the L2 and the wheel top are both.
And Sensa.
Oh yeah, I saw them at Sea Otter.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of they were kind of one of the first to the
because they
punch.
had, they were, but they haven't really gotten much publicity.
They kind of came out swinging, and then they didn't follow it up
'Cause
after
they had
the first generation.
Yeah, and I remember seeing some different reviews of things where like the brakes were horrendous. But I don't understand how anybody in this day and age can make a bad set of brakes. They all have their competitors' products.
Well,
Do
the
you
problem,
not own a pair of calipers?
I think the problem is a lot of times they're OEMing stuff from other companies and not developing their own, so they're kind of stuck with what other people are developing. And that's the problem is like these group sets aren't really complete group sets; they're partial group sets.
But let me tie this back to your brothers and sisters back at Campy. Mm-hmm. Campy's disc brakes are Magura.
True. But they went with a reputable source. You know, they're not sourcing another Chinese brand that have a questionable, you know.
So okay. At the risk of having another tangent here, there was a video I saw recently about Thomas brakes over in the mountain bike side of things.
Okay.
That
Let's
has
not forget about the mountain bike stuff.
Yeah. There's been a lot of drama apparently because it's a Chinese brand that has a relationship with Intense on the pro level for their downhill bikes. Mm-hmm. And there is a German company who does really high-end brakes. They wound up getting bought out by DT Swiss.
Okay.
And this is awful because I can't remember the one that was apparently knocked off now. But they basically took all of their competitors' brakes and made it, like on Chinese social media, they basically outlined their entire development process early on was, we bought all of the best brakes in the world, and then we copied all of them, and then we went ahead and started testing all of the different things to figure out what made each brake what it is. Apparently the brakes are pretty damn good now.
Okay.
And that's where I don't understand but how a company who wants to break into the bike market can't just go ahead and say, all right, here's what our competitors are doing. Here's what gives this its advantage, what gives this its disadvantage. And let's figure out where we want to be.
You know what? I think you're selling it a little bit short because I think they do, but when the actual execution comes out, there's patents to deal with, there's workarounds, and like Shimano has their piston set up and the way they do it, and
SRAM's patented front derailers that drop chains.
Right. Yeah.
Sean dropped his chain 3 times on the ride yesterday.
Oh, geez.
Oh, that's rough.
I told you so's every time.
Yeah, I mean,
now
it's
that
tough.
said, I wouldn't ride Shimano on a mountain bike, so there's balance.
Really? That's interesting. I ride Shimano on mountain bikes.
For me, it's kind of the same thing with, like, Shimano is the Campy of mountain bikes at this point.
The reason why I'm going to disagree with you there, because for me, I don't ride electronic on mountain.
Okay.
If I'm way out in the back country or something and something goes wrong, I want to be able to take out a multi-tool and jerry rig it and everything. And it seems like Shimano's a little bit more user-friendly that way. Maybe that's just my impression.
Sure.
Where you can jerry rig something and get home.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't ride electronic and everything. They use mineral oil in their brakes. They use all this different stuff that's like a lot more approachable for me. Maybe it's a comfort level of familiarity.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to dip your bread in dot fluid.
Right. What?
I don't quite understand from an environmental perspective why people don't want dot fluid in mountain bikes and potentially polluting trails if you have something rupture, but I don't...
Yeah, I mean, how often does that really happen?
Again,
Rare.
My thing is I've just worked on all that stuff, whether it was in, clutches on cars, motorcycles, carts, all that. None of it's scary. Wear gloves. But also, don't get it on anything rubber that's not supposed to be on, or it's going to
Well, like I said, I mean, inherently mountain biking, you're riding some rough terrain and you're riding maybe solo or in the backcountry where you don't have a lot of help. Or you're not going to have a support car.
I'm not that brave.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be 10 miles out in the backcountry and you hit a rock, you go over the bars or something like that. You're okay, but you're dusting yourself off and you look at your bike and it's like, I want to be able to jerry rig something and get home. With electronic stuff, I don't feel that confident about that. I don't feel confident about the other things I need to be able to do. I carry a tube, even though I ride tubeless, it's the same kind of concept. Like I have a backup plan.
Yeah, my bike right now is half tubeless, half tubed.
There you go. See. Anyways, so
China.
And let's not forget, I mean, when we're talking about Shimano and SRAM, we're talking about their high-end Dura-Ace.
Yeah, we're not
We're talking about, that stuff's
not
pretty
talking about
polished,
Polaris and-
thousands of dollars. And here comes China, and they're like, let's try to take a stab at, like, right below 105.
Okay, but
Even 105 is pretty damn good.
No, 105 is excellent.
It's excellent.
105 is just last gen's version of Ultegra with an extra gear added onto it, especially 105 Di2
True,
at this point.
true.
105 Di2, the only difference between the Ultegra and Dura-Ace and that one is you get their slightly smoother cassette ramp profiles, and you get a slightly different front derailleur that's a little bit heavier for 105 and not quite as fast.
Well, let me put it this way. So, like, this is a perfect example. This
Yep.
is a Chinese, this is Z,
ZTTO.
yeah, it's a ZTTO, 12 speed, 10,
The machining's beautiful.
1052. And this thing weighs like approaching like the highest end stuff, like
Yeah.
XTR, that kind of thing. But at the front, wait, like basically the price of 105.
Now this is all aluminum though, right?
I
believe it
I
is.
think it might be.
Yeah.
And that's how they're shaving that weight and everything.
No, I mean,
But at
yeah.
that price, you can go through 5 of these and you're still out ahead.
Yeah, you're nowhere near an XTR cassette.
Yeah.
Have you tried one of these yet? Is this your second one because you burned through one already, or is
It was
this...
a different brand, but yeah, I got this to replace the other one.
Now, how does it shift for you on the Shimano stuff? 'Cause
I
one
use
thing-
Shimano. I use a KMC chain. The problem with okay, let me back up a little bit. I have an XD driver on
Yeah.
the hub,
Yep.
and so that's because I made the jump to 12 speed and everything when Shimano still hadn't sorted out their whole hub system, and you couldn't get down to below 11 on their tooth, and I wanted to go 10 or 9.
Yeah.
In XD, you could do that before they revamped their hub design,
Microspline. Yeah.
the microspline. And so I was sold because I didn't really want a hodgepodge because I love Shimano brakes on the mountain.
Yep.
I think it's great. Their two piston stuff, especially in trail or cross country, is amazing. I like the feel. I can't stand SRAM brakes.
You like brakes that work.
I don't like brakes that work. I don't want to feel like I'm grabbing mush.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like I have to grab 2 fingers, that sort of thing. So, and it works okay. It works good enough. Usually my rear derailleur is XT.
Yep.
I run something like a KMC chain, and I use a cassette like this. It's not the smoothest, but
So
it works.
one thing I had read was that those cassettes, the way that the ramp profiles on the teeth work better with the parallelogram design on SRAM stuff than they do on Shimano, because Shimano works in some sort of different movement
Sure.
that in order to make that work as smooth as it is, it has to have their specific ramps,
Which comes full circle. So a lot of times these Chinese group sets, they don't include a cassette, especially
Or
the
chain
road
ring.
stuff.
Yeah.
They don't include a chain, that sort of thing. No front chain ring. That
I
cranks
saw-
are just thrown in another Chinese brand that they're just like, here's a group that will add another $50 and we're gonna OEM this random thing, and everything. But I think they're really taking a good stab at it. In terms of somebody. That's a hard. Who's the customer?
So who's the customer? Because my issue with the Chinese group sets is none of them are a finished consumer product.
Correct.
The people who would really stand to benefit from that type of a product are people at the entry level who wouldn't even know where to find these things or that they exist to begin with. And the people who would be best served with that type of a product are also the type who would need the most amount of support from a local shop. And they have no local
that's a
support.
totally different customer. I think it's like somebody that's going in buying and they want $1,000 bike, $1,500 bike out the door. I think it's the second or third bike in your stable in the garage where you're.
It's a
just
tinker bike.
Yeah, it's a tinker bike.
It's
not your daily.
I want to put electric shifting on a bike that has rim brakes, and I can't do that otherwise.
Yeah. So it's a niche market for sure, right? Shut the fuck up, RJ.
He's always wrong.
It's always wrong. Hold on a second, RJ. I know it'll spice you up a little bit.
Perk him right up. Here, have the rest of this too.
Oh, hell yeah. Like, we put a
your head.
nice big head on that one. Yeah! Yeah, sperm whale. Yeah!
Get all that white froth.
Cheers. Yeah! Yeah!
Go.
Yeah!
Go fuck yourself. I'm not drinking more of that.
Sperm whale! Hells yes!
The cum of the crop. I mean, the cream of the crop.
Oh, God. Oh my God. So, anyways, let's wrap this up. God, I don't know where we're going.
Can I
with
bring
this.
up one more thing?
Yes, absolutely.
If the Chinese group sets are going to make it, you need one major Western brand to private label a group set.
Yes.
If Specialized did what they did with like Praxis cranks
Yes.
for their S-Works cranks,
I don't think
back
that's
in the
going
day.
to happen.
If-
I don't think it's going to happen because they don't have the highest end tier to go all the way to the top. It's like they stop like at the well.
No, but that's exactly what they should do. Is they should just go ahead and say, all right, great news. We're going to private label it. It's only going to be on bikes under a certain price point, and
Okay.
that way you don't go ahead and offend the sensibilities of Shimano and SRAM.
Right.
And then you put your name on it, and that way they have Western distribution as well.
As opposed to those other brands like E13, like all those other brands, you know,
Yeah.
at least for mountain. Road's a different story, but they have all those other ones,
Yeah.
smaller brands.
So anyhow,
anyways,
way too many goddamn tangents. Maybe you've learned something. Maybe you're more confused.
I'm confused right now.
Perfect.
Totally. Anyways, let's wrap this one up. Shut the fuck up, RJ.
Cheers.
Hey, that head might have gone down a little bit.
Cheers. Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, here, let me.
Drink out of the
Are
water.
you seriously?
Yeah, I had enough of that.
With that, we're out of here.